Pass and Gala, taking place in the Vatican City. We all appreciate you. And what we are going to talk about is improving the interstate level collaboration to aid victims of human trafficking. And I have been doing this work for almost 18 years in Nigeria. In all sincerity, our gathering and deliberations are of great importance because to really eradicate the evil called human trafficking, we must target working towards ensuring the freedom of those who have fallen victims. Thus, my input as part of the ways for improving the interstate level collaboration to aid victims of human trafficking. To start with, the abolition of the slave trade in the 18th century was to end the tragedy, the trauma, the ill treatment, harm, and the agony that engulfed humanity. Yet today, an estimated 2.5 million people are in forced labor, including sexual exploitation, at any given time as a result of human trafficking. 32% of victims are used for forced economic exploitation, of whom 56% are women and girls. On another hand, 43% of victims are used for forced commercial sexual exploitation, of whom 98% are women and girls. Again, an estimated 1.2 million children are trafficked each year. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, every year as many as 17,500 people are trafficked into the country, and an estimated 2 to 4 million people are trafficked domestically. Coming down to Africa, Nigeria in particular, the Globalistic Report on 2015 modern-day slavery states that many girls are trafficked out of Nigeria, with or without the northern insurgency, because you all know there is a Boko Haram thing going on in the northeast. The European Union has estimated that 60% of all sex workers in Italy and Belgium are Nigerian women. Not only that, Nigeria's total of 832,000 people account for about 15% of the 6.4 million people living in modern-day slavery in Africa. Moreover, the Nigerian Immigration Service explained human trafficking as the third most lucrative organized crime and after drug and arms trafficking, and was for a long time the safest form of organized crime in the country due to the lack of national legislation to criminalize it. The experience that inspired the vision. Ladies and gentlemen, it was right in this part of the world, in the 80s, that I had this horrible experience of human trafficking. Permit me for a short time to share the experience with you. In 1986, during my educational course under the auspices of the World Tourism Organization and the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Rome, I had an encounter that inspired me, a vision to restore human dignity. I ran into so many Nigerian young girls posed as commercial sex workers on the streets of Rome. Under the harsh condition, I was so curious. On face-to-face inquiry, I discovered that these girls were deceived, brought to Italy and coerced into the dehumanizing act by some heartless persons. As a mother, I was touched to my bone marrow. Then in my meditation, I vowed to God that should I find myself in any position of power, I will see to it that the dignity of these young Nigerian women are restored. My vow became a dream, and I kept seeing it actualized. Fortunately, heaven answered my prayer. In the year 1999, my husband was sworn in as the vice president of our dear country, Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I remember the vow. The pursuit of my dreams steered me to a clear vision, to contribute a free and fair society for all. It further inspired me to establish a non-governmental organization called Women Trafficking and Child Labor Eradication Foundation, WOTCLEF, with the mission to bring to frontline important developmental issues and to attract national and international responses to challenges of trafficking in persons, child labor, and abuse through every strategic and creative move. It became a mother and NGO in Africa, leading in anti-human trafficking fights. In the expedition to actualizing my great dream of combating human trafficking, Wycliffe first embarked on various substantial crusades to sensitize and to raise the consciousness of the public on the ills of trafficking and the hazardous exposure of African women in diaspora who have fallen victims. One of such campaigns was the first ever Pan-African Conference on Human Trafficking. When I stepped in today, I was so, taken aback when I met with Sister Patricia, because the first Pan-African conference that was conducted, she was one of the participants in Abuja. We are over 2,000 participants from 16 African countries and non-African countries, including many dignitaries of the world, were all in attendance. Interestingly, the conference was an eye-opener to the participants because many of them have never had the knowledge of human trafficking until the conference. The enormous contribution of Wycliffe to the fight against human trafficking was recognized by the United Nations, and so the UN was prepared to grant a special consultative status to Wycliffe. This status has given Wycliffe a rare opportunity to maintain a regular presence as an NGO at relevant UN activities. Notably, there are only few NGOs in Africa that possesses this status. While the campaign was going on, some European countries like Italy repatriated thousands of Nigerian trafficked women to their countries, from their countries for prostitution.
You have 30 seconds.
Now, receive over 10,000 of them and offer them immediate psychosocial therapy. Realizing the need for interstate level collaboration, I sought for a means through which the perpetrators could be prosecuted and through which justice could be given to the victims. My craving led me to the initiation of a private bill to the National Assembly. Today, it is a significant milestone in my entire history as the bill which I initiated and vigorously pursued. Let me just finish this part, please. With the support of some eminent Nigerians, eventually resulted to the enactment of Trafficking in Person Prohibition Law Enforcement Administrative Act today in Nigeria in 2003. When we come for discussion, I think we'll say more about it. Thank you.
Thank you.